We got a lot of wanna-see-its to cover, so let's go way back in the past. We'll go back in our time machine.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
So we had two movies opening.
Up and Drag Me to Hell, which we thought Drag Me to Hell would do okay because of the counter program, but Up, of course, Pixar, they don't know how to make a flop, and this just looks like another great movie. The reviews have been just all great. Had another huge $68 million opening.
It's made $151 million so far.
So just
going strong.
Another hit for them.
Drag Me to Hell did do better than we expected. I think we said like mid, like 10, 12 million.
Yeah.
It made about 20. I think it was high. Not high enough apparently for a lot of people, but did well.
That leads us into last week, and of course the two big movies, Land of the Lost and The Hangover.
Yes.
The Hangover, which on the surface looks like frat guy comedy sort of in the
and
vein
everyone
of
expected it to be in like third place behind Up and Land of the Lost.
Right. But the reviews were really strong, saying that it was really funny. I'm happy about that. I'm hoping this could be Bradley Cooper's breakout role, and everybody's saying that it's really hilarious across the board. And Land of the Lost, which was the huge studio movie that could not have been promoted more.
No.
Like, everywhere I turned, there was Will Ferrell, there were commercials, like, you couldn't get away from this movie, and the reviews were not that good, it wasn't tracking very well, and everybody was wondering how it was going to do, so it turns out The Hangover, in a really close battle with Up, and actually, I sort of heard people going back and forth. Some people said The Hangover is #1, and I heard Up was #1.
I think the final thing was Hangover won by like $400,000. So very close, but still a win's a win.
Right.
Because the record books are going to show #1, The Hangover.
So The Hangover was the #1 movie with about 44 million. Up was #2, as Tim said, just 400,000 behind it. And then Land of the Lost, way back in third.
Like 18 million.
And that's 100. If you figure they made it cost them $100 million to make that movie, and then they must have spent at least another $100 million on promotion. And so, I mean, man, that is a massive flop.
Well, it could do well overseas. We still have that whole thing. Back to The Hangover. I didn't tell you, but I did see it. I went and saw it on Friday. I took the day off of work because I'm like, you know what? I need to laugh.
Okay.
So I watched Conan in the morning because I DVR'd it all. So I watched that in the morning, then went and saw The Hangover. Very, very funny. Like,
really?
Tears were coming down my face. It was that funny.
I'm probably going to go see it this
Stay during
sometime.
the end credits because that's where I would swear to God, and Philip Levin, one of the Inkscape writers, can attest to this. He agreed with me. The funniest part of the movie is the end credits. I don't want to give it away.
All right.
But Bradley Cooper was so great in that movie, but I think the MVP for the movie is Zach Galifianakis. He sort of plays a mentally challenged, like he's not that smart.
Yeah.
And so that's where all the humor comes in, is because he's not that smart. And so, and he's really not part of their circle, because we have 3 friends, and then he plays the brother of the girl who's marrying the guy.
Oh, okay.
So he's sort of dragged along.
And Ed Helms plays the other part of the movie.
He gets to sing, and he's really the straight guy. He's a doctor. Well, he's a dentist, but he keeps saying, "I'm a doctor." And they're like, "Well, you're really just a dentist." And then you kind of find out when they're all like hungover and everything, he's the wildest one. Because he gets married to this hooker, and
well, don't give it away. I'm
well,
gonna go
that's in the previews and everything.
That's
so
true.
I'm not going to give too much away. Mike Tyson's hilarious in the movie. Little role, but he's hilarious. Mike Epps is in there. I didn't even know Mike Epps was in there.
I've heard a lot about, I guess, Ken Jeong, who plays the Asian mafia
Leslie
boss.
Wong. Yeah, he's pretty good too.
So
I forget his name. Is it Justin
Bartha?
Justin Bartha has a really small role because
he plays the
gets
groom
lost.
that they lose, right?
Yeah, so he gets lost. So you see him like in the beginning, and then sort of like intertwined in flashbacks, and then in the end. The good thing is even before it came out in the theaters, they commissioned a sequel.
Oh.
So they're already writing a sequel, even before it came out.
Okay.
And now that it's #1, it's been #1 every single day this week.
Really?
It's been making like $5 and $6 million.
The word of mouth is really strong on this, so I'm definitely going to
$65 million so far. So it's made. So you figure it's made $20 million in the last week.
And really no real competition in that particular vein. There's no other big comedies or anything coming out. This week we've got The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, yes, which is a big action thriller. Denzel Washington, John Travolta going at it.
Is Tony Scott directed it?
One of the Scotts.
Yeah, Tony, I'm pretty sure it's Tony.
And, I love John Travolta when he's playing a bad guy. He's so good. Because he's like, everybody loves John Travolta, but he's so good as a bad guy. And then you got Denzel, and they're just acting off of each other. So that looks great.
It looks like one of those movies where it's an acting tour de force.
Pretty much,
like
yeah.
It's an acting class.
Pretty much.
James Gandolfini's in it, so
right.
you know it's going to be a good movie.
So it looks really good, and the action looks good, and and then the Scotts, they really know how to do these sorts of movies too. So.
It's been getting so-so reviews. I think it's still rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think it's probably a good popcorn flick, And then also coming out is Imagine That, which is I guess a real kid-friendly family movie with Eddie Murphy.
Another Eddie Murphy failure. Imagine that.
Eddie Murphy plays the dad who's too busy for his daughter until she starts helping him with business, and then he starts playing with her.
Learns a life lesson.
Yeah.
Quits his job in the end or
Here's
something.
the best quote I heard this morning from Sam Rubin on the Channel 5 Morning News. He says that the reviews aren't as bad as you would expect them to be. Like, how sad for Eddie Murphy that that's the best he can get. The reviews aren't as bad as you thought they were.
They're bad, but not all bad. There's a few good ones.
Right. Like, how far has Eddie Murphy fallen that this is what he's come to?
Yeah, but let's not tempt him with good things, because we don't want, like, Norbit Part 2 or something, so... Let's keep him down on the ground for now.
So, your choice for this week is to see The Hangover, huh?
No, I saw it.
Well, I'm saying you would recommend.
Oh, yeah, I would recommend seeing The Hangover again. Or if you feel like driving... See Away We Go. Away We Go with John Krasinski and Maya Rudolph. Technically the number one movie if you count per screen average. It made about $13,000 per screen, which I think was in 2 screens. So. It looks really, really strong. I think John Krasinski finally gets a chance to shine, but it's limited, so you gotta search. And everyone says Maya Rudolph is amazing in this movie. So. What is your pick for this week? I'm probably gonna go see The Hangover. That sounds like something I'm real interested in. Or maybe Pelham 1, 2, 3, because, In a minor note, on Monday, I skipped work yet again. I wanted a 4-day weekend. Technically it was a 4.5, because that whole work thing on Thursday. So I went and saw Star Trek again, because I had a free ticket. So I had a free ticket, so I'm like, I'll go see Star Trek. Sure. So I'm like, I'm not going to pay for a water in there, and here's my little tip for everyone. Go to a theater, find out what water they sell, and then go to the supermarket and buy that exact same water. Don't go to the first show of the day. Always go to the second show of the day. Yeah. Then bring a water, drink a little bit of it, and walk in. And if they argue with something, like, I bought this here. Because they don't give you receipts for the thing. So there's my thing. And then they give me a free popcorn coupon. Really? So my whole movie experience on Monday cost me $1.25. I saved so much money. It was ridiculous. Well, you know what? In these times where people are budgeting, those are good tips. Good budget tips at the movies. Yeah, and Star Trek was great. I loved it the second time around. You've seen it 2 times? I've seen it 2 times, and chances are I'll probably see it again sometime in the next 2 weeks. So there you go. There's a story about Land of Lost I'll tell on the blog. So above this one, I guess. Okay. There you go.